العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين أما بعد فأوصيكم بتقوى الله فإنه حبل متين وعروة وثقى صلوات. Dear brothers and sisters in Iman, first of all, I advise myself for taqwa, parhizgari and piety, and then I advise all of you for the same. We have been talking about the blessed life and contribution of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. And for one Friday, which was the last Friday, we went out of our theme and we discussed the life and the teachings of Imam Hassan al-Askari alayhi salatu wassalam, because we were in the days of his wiladat and we didn't want to miss the opportunity of talking about our 11th Imam. But today we are back to our original theme and the discussion, which was the life of Prophet. And in addition to whatever I have said earlier, we were talking about that how one life and one individual can make such a big impact on entire humanity, and how one individual can bring such a big change. And then we reviewed that many people were able to bring some change, but many of the change took place after they left this dunya and much later. But Prophet was able to bring a huge and big change within his own lifetime. And when we say lifetime, again we mean only 23 years, which even if you start a business from scratch, within 20 years, 23 years, you don't just become from penniless to billionaire. Yes, you can make some progress, but 23 years is very little span of time. And then if you look at the life of Prophet, that how he started only with one woman and with one young boy, and then how much opposition and how many challenges and how many difficulties and hardships and embargoes and sanctions and boycott, and then this migration, and then wars, and meaning if you look into all that, how much he had gone through, and then within 23 years, he brings everybody in. And the entire Jaziratul Arab becomes Muslim. So, we were trying to understand that what were some of the reasons of his success. Of course, he was the best human being, the best brain, the best mind, the most sincere servant of Allah, and he was blessed with all those things. But there were human factors, because no prophet came to establish the deen of Allah in a kind of miraculous way. They showed the miracles when they were needed, but to only prove that they were the messengers of Allah, only to prove that. But they didn't really carry on, or they didn't establish the deen of Allah by miracles. Because if they had to establish the deen of Allah by miracles, then we didn't need 124,000 prophets. Then only Hazrat Adam would do it forever. Hazrat Nuh would do it. Hazrat Musa would do it. Hazrat Isa would do it. We didn't need 124,000 prophets to go through all that suffering. So none of them established the deen of Allah by using miracles. Miracles were only to prove their claim that they are the true representatives of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, messengers of Allah. That's it. Other than that, they struggled as a human being. And just like a regular human being. And most of them actually came from very humble backgrounds. When you look from their social status or their economical status or all these things, most of them, they come from very humble beginnings and from very regular kind of background. That is why the chiefs of the societies and the elites had always difficulty in believing in them. They say, how come if Allah wanted to send a representative, He should send one of these elites? He should send one of these chiefs of the society. The billionaires, the millionaires, the affluent people, people who had might, people who had money, people who had resources, Allah would choose them to be His representatives instead of these poor people. So again, if you look in the lives of the prophets, most of them came from very modest and very humble kind of backgrounds. Yes, they were from very noble families. They come from very good fathers and very good mothers, and they had family, they were noble from that background, but it doesn't mean that they come from very rich families and very affluent families. So, within 23 years, you bring such a change, you make such an impact in the society. That is something that all of us need to really look into it. And very few people have really looked into it. Most of the people, they just spoke about his fadail, about his merits, about his miracles, or then they just gave the history of wars, but that's it. The character of Prophet and the work of Prophet or methodology of Prophet. What was the methodology of Prophet? That is a subject which very few people have really looked into it, and very few people have made any contribution on that subject. And that is why I was talking about this from some weeks. Today I just want to mention 2 or 3 things very briefly, and then we will continue the discussion. One of the things which Prophet made sure that he has to focus on if he wants to change the society, if he wants to build a society based on his vision and his mission, then he must focus on educating his people. So his focus on education. Quran began with that command, Iqra, Bismi Rabbika alladhi khalaq. And then we know that the life of Prophet, from the very beginning, he emphasized the importance of education, acquiring the knowledge, spreading the knowledge, learning and teaching. He mentioned the rewards. And as we know that the first time when he got the opportunity in Medina, when he was now establishing his community, he had some of these prisoners of war from Makkah. And while he had given them 3 different options to earn their release, one of those options was that those of you who know how to read and how to write, if you can teach, he gave a certain number, they mentioned different numbers, but approximately 10 people. If each one of you can teach how to read and how to write to these 10 Muslims in Medina, you will be released. Meaning you have seen so many other wars and you had seen the prisoners of war and the conditions that how they release them. But this was a unique experience that Prophet is asking his enemies to teach his followers. And also Prophet is setting a example that when it comes to learning and getting the education, then Muslim and non-Muslim is not the issue. You can learn from kafir. You can have a kafir to teach you. And Prophet asked these kuffar of Quraysh and mushrikeen of Quraysh to teach these Muslims and believers in Medina. We are still struggling today whether we should hire Muslim teachers or non-Muslim teachers at our schools. But we have the life of Prophet in front of us. As long as you as a prophet are monitoring, you are in charge of that school and society, and it is everything under your supervision, then it's not an issue. All what you need is education. And then he stressed, there are so many ahadith, talabul ilm, faridatun ala kulli Muslim. He made it mandatory on every Muslim to learn, to get the education. And he said, utlubul ilma walau kana bis-Sin. Learn the knowledge, even if you have to go to China. China was considered at that time the furthest distance. From there, Arabs would normally travel to Yemen or they would travel to Syria for their business. And they were used to do those kind of journeys. Seldomly, meaning they would go any further. But Prophet is talking about China. And China Muslims were not used to live in China. And he is asking his people to go even up to China. And certain other riwayat that you focus on education. And my brothers and sisters, within years, he had now men and women and even slaves getting the education and knowledge. In every house had become madrasa. He himself established a madrasa which was known at that time Sufa. It was just a little extended kind of, as you have these patios next to your homes, it was just like that next to his masjid. A little elevated place with dirt. And these people who had nowhere to go, so they would all sit down there, they would study, and they would learn, and neighbors and the community people would just drop them some food, whatever they needed. And the community will give them some food, and they would just sit and read and study. This is how this started. And as you know that within few years, the Medina had become the seat of learning, the center of knowledge. from all over the Muslim world, people would come to Medina. And then certainly, so later on, within 100 years or 200 years, Muslims became the most learned, educated people in entire world. They went ahead than any other community and any other society. More than Iranis, more than Greeks, more than Chinese, more than Indians, more than anybody. But Prophet had started. So that was number one, education. The second thing, Prophet he made sure that he pays equal attention to every segment of society. Most of the leaders, if you study their lifestyle, their lives, either they pick one or two segments of the society who are their favorite or more important to them, and some leaders they try to become populists. They don't care about the elites or affluent people or chiefs, or meaning the people who have some influence on the society. They just go with the common people. And they talk for them and their issues and try to rally with those common people and awam, what they call, the common people. And they don't make good inroads or good understanding with this other class of people, which is the elite, or which is the what you call privileged. And similarly, either they are going to be more focused on men or women. Similarly, if very seldomly they have any attention for youth or children. And so even if you study these movements and revolutions and big leaders and their working styles, you will see that they pick certain segments, certain elements of society which fit in their kind of work scope, and then they abandon the other ones. But if you look at the life of Prophet made sure that he focuses equally on each and every segment of society. While he was for common people and he had so much mercy and concern for those people who had no shoes to wear or no shirt to wear and who had no food to eat, and he was very kind and very much focused on this class of people, but at the same time he was equally in good relation and good contact with the chiefs of the tribes, with the affluent people, with mashayikh, with shuyukh, with those people who were on top. He didn't say, since I am with these poor guys, so I am enemy of you and I am going to send you to the hell, and I am never going to shake hand with you because you are crooks, or you are this and you are that and you are corrupt, so I am not going to shake hand with you. I am all just with these poor. No, he was with the poor, but also he didn't abandon the rich. He said they need also guidance. They are doing all this because they are not guided properly. So he made inroads with them. He visited, we have in his history, he was used to go and visit them. Different tribes, different chiefs. And he would give them the honor that Prophet came to visit them. Prophet came to invite them to Islam. Prophet married their daughters to bring them in Islam and give them this honor, because Prophet knew these people are not going to enter in Islam without getting something that they have some share in it. Prophet was a man that he was not like today's revolutionary men, that sometimes when people think that I'm revolutionary, so then they become so hard and stuck with their slogans, what they give when in their movement, that later on they become prisoners of their own slogans. Now they cannot change. Or if they make change, they say, oh, he has made U-turn. He was used to curse them and now he is friend with them. He was used to reject them and now he is taking them. Prophet didn't do that. He said, these are all children of Adam. These are all human beings. And all of them, they need guidance. All of them, they need my attention. All of them, they need my leadership. And he didn't abandon one group of people on the cost of other group of people. You will see him sitting with those orphans, with those homeless people, with those faqir, fuqara, ghuraba, with those, but at the same time you will see him having meetings with those chiefs, with those affluent people, visiting them and inviting them. You know that he wrote letters to those chiefs of the tribes and those kings and those leaders of the governments. He didn't write letters, for example, to their masses because he knew that letters to those masses will not bring any results. So he initiated first to write letters to those kings, those people in control. So I'm just trying to tell you that sometime when we start some movement, we normally go to extremes. Because we are with poor, so we are now bad with the affluent. Because we are with the affluent, we are with rich people, so we cannot shake hand with the poor. Because we are working with men, women are not important. Because women, my people, my following are women, so the men are not important. Or similarly, elderly, middle age, youth, children. You look at the life of Prophet. All these groups were equally important to the Prophet. He made friendships with those elderly and seniors. He paid them special attention. He said, barakat is because of you. You are the source of barakat and blessing in the society. But then, most of the people who helped him were the people of his own age. People in 40s when he started the mission, or in late 30s. Then he, at the same time, while these people were, many of them were his own age, he paid special attention to youth. People 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, 18 years. And he had many of those people in their teens that who were companions of Prophet, and Prophet would look at them and he would give them jobs, he would give them roles, he would make them leaders and teachers in society. And these were people in their teens. He hired them as the chiefs of the army and sent them in the battlefield. He made them governors. He made them his representatives. And these were people in teens or early 20s. And then you see him that he was very friendly with the children. One of the 5 things which he said, he is very firm on that he is never going to abandon, he is never going to leave, no matter where he reaches and how much people come and join him and he becomes very much popular. He said, there are 5 things I will not abandon. And one of those things was my spending time with these young children. He was very friendly with very young children. He would play with them, he would sit with them, he would talk with them. They say it never happened that Prophet passed by in a street or from somewhere and young children were playing, that he didn't come down from his horse or his camel and he didn't go to greet them, talk to them, and then get involved with them, what they were doing for a little while, and then telling them that it was nice to see you, you are my friends, and now I am going somewhere, so thank you very much. But he didn't say, I am the Khatamul Anbiya, I am the man of God, I am the Rasul, I am Nabi, I am leader, I am man. at this age and these are the babies and young children, and why should I pay any attention to them? No. Later on, as we see that now leaders are leaders. They have nothing to do with the children. Only in elections they kiss them. So they hold them and they make a special deal and pictures because they are running for the office. But other than that, we have stories, many stories, that these little children people would bring, and Prophet would like to hold them. And when Prophet would hold those little babies, sometimes these babies would urinate on the Prophet, and his libas would become najis. And sometimes he was standing in masjid or at the door of masjid. In our, you know, but if it happens in our masjid, how chaotic we become and how much it becomes an issue for us. But it was not an issue for Prophet. Mothers would get terrified. Ya Rasulullah, I'm very sorry. I didn't know that. Please forgive me. This, that. Prophet said, this is a little baby. This was expected from him. What's wrong? I will just go and wash it. And just take it easy. And if they would do in the masjid, now some of the companions would become panic. This is a masjid. Masjid became najis. So just bring 2 buckets of water and throw it like that. Masjid will walk. So that was the style of Prophet. A man who embraced everyone. Black, white, Iranian, Roman, local, outsider, rich, poor, man of knowledge, the person who doesn't know anything, Baddus, those Bedouins, sometimes they would do crazy things. And these companions of Prophet would lose patience. But Prophet would say, no, they are my guests. Let them do it. They will learn how to change. So this was the method of Prophet. Equal attention to every segment of people, every gender, every age group, every economical background, every tribal and ethnic background. And this is how he was bring to everyone to bring in his tent. And then he was able to focus on everyone without any discrimination. And this is one of his hadiths. I want to conclude it here. His hadith, and that sometimes puts us in a big challenge. He says, if someone greets or shakes hand with a poor in a different manner and with a rich in a different manner, with ordinary man in a different way and with an elite in a different way, this person, not only that he will not go in paradise, he will not even smell the fragrance of paradise. He will be thrown so away from the paradise because he discriminated between an average Joe and somebody who is riding very high and is a gentleman or somebody who is very recognized in the society. As a man of God, as a servant of God, as a mu'min, as a believer, I should be equally respectful to all of them. Everyone deserves that respect as a human being. All of them are children of Adam, and Adam was Nabi. All of them, they are children of Adam. All of them are our brothers and sisters. They have less money, they have more money, they have less education, they have more education, they are whatever. But to us, when we greet them, when we treat them, we should be just following the sunnah of Nabi. So I conclude it here, inshallah. Some of these things we discussed, rest of the things, inshallah, next week. Recite a salawat. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحليم الكريم غافر الذنب وقابل التوب وهو الغفور الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد اللهم صل على محمد وعلى أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب وعلى سيدة نساء العالمين فاطمة الزهراء وعلى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. اللهم صل على مولانا صاحب العصر والزمان صل على وعلى آبائه الكرام متصل الليالي والأيام. أما بعد فقد قال الله تبارك وتعالى في كتابه المجيد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. توبوا إلى الله توبة نصوحا عسى ربكم أن يكفر عن سيئاتكم ويدخلكم جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار. وقال الله تبارك وتعالى أيضا إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي الله أشهد أن عليا حجة الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت